Hello, welcome to Mystic Revolution. Susana and I are very excited that you're here to play with us in Season 4, Strengthening Soul Senses. We're going to go deeper into what are soul senses and why attend to our inner senses at all. But first, a little meditation. So let's notice that you have a body. And notice your weight in the chair or on your feet as you stand. Really feel gravity pulling you into the earth. And let's strengthen your consciousness of the connection between your body and the earth. Just let your body relax into a hug with Mama Earth. And rest, be inside your body. Perhaps you can sit your attention in the center of your head, relaxing your eyes and letting your attention sit like you're in a barca lounger or sitting at the beach. And just sit your attention at the center of your head. And relax your eyes because you can't look back there. And one more thing, let's ask for a wonderful blue waterfall above your head, flowing from the universe, asking the universe for a particular vibration of blue, and I'm going to call that sacred truth or validation, or I'm okay, or I'm enough. And let this sacred truth flow through your body, all around your room. Let it flow mostly to the center of the earth, and let some stream around your neighborhood, bringing in the blessings, the divine blessings of the true for everyone. All right, enjoy your time sitting in the center of your head and grounded, connected consciously to the earth in the flow of whatever goodness you want to ask for from the universe, including the energy of validation. And you can just sit here and meditate if you'd like, or you can open your eyes and start to move around as Susana and I start to talk about strengthening our soul senses. Hey, Susana.
Hey, I'm so excited for this season and jumping right into the topic. So we say soul senses. And by that, I mean, if you've been watching us, you kind of get a sense of what we're talking about. We're talking about soul senses is another word for psychic. I know psychic makes people kind of freak out a little bit, but psychic comes from the word psyche. It's the Greek word psyche, which actually means soul. And so when we're talking about psychic capabilities, we're literally talking about soul senses.
Yeah. And I'd like to contextualize and say, we're talking to all kinds of mystics in this show.
Yes.
And many mystics are aware that part of the mystic journey is to be informed by our inner senses. And that's kind of a big part of the game. And I found, and I think you have too, that it helps to develop this, and it can be done opening to all of our inner senses, and trading that back and forth, and receiving and giving. So I just want to contextualize. Some people are coming to this from I just want to listen to God thing, and but how do we develop our ears to hear and our eyes to see to do
Yes.
that? And one is to practice.
Yes.
So anyway, that's context. So the first thing I want to talk about is, I love the sensibility word that we used for last time. It just gave like the context and some of the discernment, and that's always something that I believe we're building. Um, it's it's a spiritual, just like all the things we talk about, it's a spiritual blessing from heaven and earth. It's a vibration,
Yes.
and it's also a practice. Um, so a lot of what we're going to talk about today will be around our own discernment, because even when we're receiving or if we're giving, we still need to be discerning. We'd never get out of the driver's seat. It's always our responsibility for whatever information is coming at us. What do I do with it?
I think that's such an important point to make. And I don't believe that everybody thinks of that when they go to have a reading or a healing, or get kind of guidance from someone else, guidance or validation from someone else. I think last week you said you are the authority, and you absolutely are. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So somebody outside of us can help us see or encourage us to see, but it's just so important for me to be just like, that doesn't taste right. That doesn't smell right. That doesn't feel right. Okay. Well, there's things to do about that. And we can just say that now. There will be things that are like, this is, oh gosh, that's so validating. Thank you. And it might be things that we like and things that we don't like, and that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's just still validating to have somebody see our own motivations, or what happened with us, or what a deep desire is. It's just so encouraging of us, and it can feel like love. It can feel like acceptance to have somebody else see us so well.
Absolutely. Yeah, it really can. And when a good reader can do that, I mean, it can change everything.
Yes.
Yeah. And just to underscore that, just the remembering that every reader is reading through the lens of their own experience. And that's why a really good reader understands this, right? Does the clearing that needs to happen. And even if they are reading things, Wendy's going to talk about matching pictures. Sometimes these come up. You'll have sort of a similar thing with your reader, being able to discern that clearly and to speak to the reader about them, not about you. Keep what's for yourself and focus on the reader. I have witnessed a lot of entanglement with that, and then it gets really messy. But please, Wendy, go ahead and speak more about that.
Yeah, it helps to know ourselves, and that's what one of the practices in training is to clear and to see where we're still not clear. Oh, that's definitely still an issue for me, and there's nothing wrong. But can I watch? And I remember in my more advanced training, sitting around and looking and being like, okay, everybody look at this. Okay. All right, now clean it off. Okay. All right, now we know this energy is probably there. Let's clean it off. Okay, now look behind. What's really going on?
Yeah.
Look behind. And so there's just all these fun tricks that we can do to not take the first information. And what I found for myself, and probably you too, I get a feel for it. I have a knowing. It's just like, oh, I have to look behind this. There's something playing with this energy. There's some kind of shit going down here. So let me clear it. Let me and let me look behind this little game and see what's really going on.
Yeah. And I love the certainty and confidence in which you spoke to that, right? As we're learning, I think the last episode we talked about, don't discount, what you see or sense, right? Because a picture or a symbol or a color or something could very well mean something. So don't discount. And then the next, right? Look behind, look around.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Go a little bit deeper.
Yeah. And just don't assume, no assuming.
No assuming.
Yeah. And we had been talking about how very often the answers aren't about when or who or what or where. It's about us.
Yeah.
It's about us and where we are and what we can have and who we're being and what our trajectory is, our momentum, our choices.
Yeah.
These are the important parts. This is why I love, I'm a healer first and last and always. And to me, that means helping myself and others come to our fullness, right? It doesn't mean just fixing broken things.
No.
And maybe I've said this before sometime, but it just makes such a difference. Can I have this? Well, the answer is no, in this moment, no. But can I have this? Let's do the energy. Let's clear what's in the way. Let's work out whatever's in, in the karma, in your agreements, in your past, in your projections for the future. And then the answer can be yes.
I
And
think
the answer,
that's so important because, right, can I have this? No, like no one wants to hear that. No one wants to face that. But let's be clear, right? We're talking about reading energy, and we're talking about reading energy for a healing.
yeah.
And so if someone has a yearning or a desire, or has consistently not been able to find a beloved or a romantic partnership, whatever flavor of that you want,
Mhm.
why is that? And as Wendy discussed last time, like the looking behind and the deeper, what's the deeper question really? And what's the deeper thing that needs tending to? And we're reading energy that is in the present time. I think that's so important to say, right? This is not a future projecting. We're reading what's going on with a person in the moment.
Mhm.
And that can change. That
Yes.
can be changed. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
in this moment, if someone's coming and saying, well, feeling all these feelings and wanting all these things in this moment, and they don't have that, they don't have it.
Right. And what's the trajectory?
What's the
What,
trajectory? Yeah.
okay, if you keep going this way, you're going to end up in water. I can tell you. And, and if you go this way, it's going to be up the mountain, but we can shift that.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to go up the mountain? Do you want to be in the water? Do you want to have a partner that is comfortable for you? Do you want, then that's not mountain or water. That means coming to something this way.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's in the realm. I use those pictures when I talk about in training readers, but also in training readees about what predicting the future is about. Like, we don't want to program people,
No.
and we don't want to just give them false hope.
No.
We want to say, look, you keep going like you're going, and it's like it's water for you. Um, but you can shift. We can shift any moment, and turn and stop going east and go north.
Yeah. The symbology of things, symbols change. They can show us places where I'm just going to say, sometimes imprison ourselves with our attachment to them. And, all of this, right, goes back to our conversation about mastering your energy and owning your discernment and owning your ability to choose and change. And I don't know what this person was doing in particular, I can imagine, but their choices to shift released a lot of energy and literally changed the story and the experience of what they were having. And it was showing up psychically, showing up energetically, right? I'm sure it was also showing up like in their general body language and just in their face and whatever. But I mean, this is what I think is so fascinating, that you can see these things and you can play with them and tweak them, right? If you're whatever, we all do readings on ourselves, and if we notice something, it doesn't have to be like, oh, there's this thing, I've really got to work on that. Sometimes it can be as simple as, oh, there's that thing, right? Or, oh, there's that thing, that's super cool, like let's amplify that,
Yes.
right? And it can happen pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so the cool thing, I mean, we're obviously kind of getting into this, but we often, these symbols and signs and archetypes, come from our subconscious. come from, sort of our unconscious living, and they surface in a way that makes us pay attention in a way that maybe like my hearing a voice repeating something that I've been beating myself up about, or, whatever. It gets my focus. It gets my like, oh, okay, why is this seemingly weird symbol showing up? And gives a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like you said, I mean, I just want to say it again to emphasize it. So we see the symbol, and it helps mirror to us what's going on, or for someone else. And then we're like, oh, this is something I want to amplify. This is something I just want to sit, let it be, something I'd like to just let go a little about. Like we can choose. But because we can see it better, we can have a relationship with it. We can make choice because we become more conscious.
Yeah.
When we interface through metaphor with the other side, with the world of spirit, it can actually help us invite something completely new into this reality. Because if we have to actually, have the specs on something and really understand it, it's not new.
No.
It helps us just actually, without too much understanding or definition, just perceive something and invite it in, and it can help change us and our world.
Yes.
And that's really cool. I've never seen that before. We don't even know what we're doing exactly. We just know that it's like something waiting to be born.
Something waiting to be born. Yeah. And I mean, while you were talking, I mean, it's another M word. And I know you also, in addition to metaphors, love alliteration. But, mythology, with its many stories, metaphors, and archetypes, also does that, right? It also does that. And that's why mythology, the stories have persisted. They are vehicles, they are metaphorical vehicles for us to open to something new, or open up into aspects of ourselves that maybe we've been aware of, or maybe coveted in other people, thinking, well, why do they have that, but I don't have that? Well, actually, it's available to every person. And so, all of these are just such great tools and ways to allow ourselves to experience more of ourselves, but more of the universe that we are operating in.
Yeah. And one thing I enjoy about mythology is like it goes back in all the different cultures and through time. It's just like it's endless. And it's constantly being created.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not always sure what's going to stay, but like Lord of the Rings, that's like, seems like, and Star Wars, and even some of the Star Trek, and the Matrix, like they give us metaphors that actually help us in our lives.
Yeah.
And, when something does that, it sticks around.
When you talk about the rubber hits the road, and this is, kind of where we open up to that. I mean, and this is where, right, the responsibility comes in. We've talked a lot about responsibility, and I think I even said like mastering your energy is one of the most radical, responsible things you can do, or some such thing.
Yes.
And in this work, there's a lot of healing from stuff that people have done to you, and from experiences that you had that, in this life or another, that have been hurtful. But what it comes down to then is like, what in your heart and soul are you going to take responsibility in your heart and soul for the ways you keep hurting yourself, for the ways you keep yourself in trauma, in fear, in whatever.
Yes. In the old patterns.
Yeah.
and energy. And, you know, we're going to be talking, not now, but we will be talking about spiritual bypassing because this is related.
Yeah.
I want to say now that in the spiritual space that I'm noticing, there's a lot of different information about all this. And I have a concern, you know, people are just like, there's a lot of people waking up and being just like having that realization, like identifying as spirit, which is wonderful, right? We work hard, we work with people a lot. We work very intentionally to identify
Yeah.
as spirit. But meanwhile, without the distinction that, okay, now we're spirit, can we start to let that spirit's identification start to inform all of our soul,
Yeah.
all of our body, all of our relationships, all of our world, all of our work, all of our play, right? Like it's just like inviting the incredible journey of bringing heaven to earth, of bringing all the beauty that is whatever you call it, our source, into unveiling in this world.
Yeah. It looks like it's time for us to take a break.
Thank you, We Are Historically, for your conscious human apparel. Shop online at wearehistorically.com.
Hey everyone, just a friendly reminder that on the first Tuesday of every month, we hold a Mystic Revolution meditation, and you're invited. Just go to our website and you'll find the link. We look forward to seeing you then.
Raise your vibration and energize your life with specialized Fibonacci tuning forks that deepen meditations and empower self-healing. Get your vibrational sound tools for personal enhancement at energybodytuners.com.
Okay, welcome back from the break. And we are in the middle of talking about mediumship, which leads to channeling. And so, Susana, take us away.
Even for people that are, right, I'm a curious person. I'll try most anything once if I'm curious about it. Because of just my own history of sort of being a little bit not attached to myself, I haven't really tried channeling, although I will say I do channel something when I sing. I do feel like I am channeling something when I sing. And is that a medium for something? Is that me channeling? I guess it is. I haven't thought of it as that way. I sometimes say I'm channeling something. You know, sometimes things can come through in different ways, and I think the key is in all of this, whether it's psychic reading, whether it's remote viewing, whether it's mediumship of any flavor, whether it's reading chakras or any form of like seeing in whatever form, the same principles apply of that grounded, centered, being able to clear off, being able to discern, right? Being in the seat of your own power here in connection with the divine. And the point you brought about where is this coming from? Divine, God, highest and best good.
Right.
Highest and best good, highest love, highest healing. Always a really great place to operate from.
Yeah. You know, two other pictures I use a lot for myself and with others is one is a diamond.
Mm-hmm.
That the
Yeah.
chakra is like a diamond, multifaceted.
Yep.
And also then it beholds and reflects the light of the sun of our source. And when we're in alignment. So I asked the source to bring the chakra to alignment and full of light. And so then it's like a sun. You know, it's shining out in all directions in us and out into our world and around us. So I utilize that a lot. And also in a more Hindu way, I tend to notice it when I used to do a lot of yoga. I notice it when I say hi to Ganesha, opening like a lotus, the chakras opening like a lotus.
Yes.
And that's really helpful too. The whole, just the idea of opening and full of the light. And it's for me, it tends to be upward focused, not outward focused. It's not about these people. It's about me and my source and how they stack up and inform each other, like, I don't know, delicious friends or something.
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
No, I love that. I
these
think,
pictures helpful, I think.
yeah, they are. The diamond or prism,
Prism.
the lotus, or even the rose, which we sometimes work with.
Yeah, I use a rose too. So the metaphors work. They're just so we're not concrete or limited by them.
Right.
I think if what we've said this so many times, but the metaphors are not the thing. They just point to the thing. They're the finger pointing to the moon. But still, it helps.
Yeah. The idea of running energy, our energy systems run energy without our involvement. And we can also intentionally run our energy. And I think the idea of being able to do things without a lot of effort, like, oh, I'm really trying hard to ground, right?
Yes.
Our bodies naturally want to. It's for what I find is like, if we can relax and allow, that can happen much more quickly. I also want to point out, you talked about chakras in your feet, also in your hands, right? The energy center, that beautiful arch of your foot right up in there. For a moment, tune into it. Tune into the arch of your feet. And the idea of spinning wheels or balls of light there. Yeah, it's really, 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 really interesting to think about. And then if we're intentionally working with those centers to connect and to be in sync with the rhythms of the earth. Anyway, I could go on and on. When I started working with the idea of my own power in connection with the divine, it changed everything. It changed everything. And, the idea that I could make choices, that I could have different opinions, that I could step up and out in ways that I hadn't before, or I could continue to do the same things I was doing, but just without the anxiety, right? It was game changing for me, or owning the divinity that we each have. But I think in the power center, what I call the power center, it's super relevant.
Yeah, I call it the power center too. And so I tend to talk about power, will, and energy, like accessing the energy that our body needs, because we're still in the body chakras here. That our body needs to be us, do us, make our impact, to like do what we're here for. Can we allow that energy to flow? And where do we put that energy? I call that energy distribution. Do I put in a whole lot of communication? Do I, take on 3 levers? Do I, what am I doing with my energy? Am I, piling up money? Am I playing with children? What am I doing with the energy I have? And is that where I choose for it to be? Yeah, it's really important. Lastly, all that power helps us access our astral experience and memory. So in dreams and visions, that direct experience of another much more spiritual, energetic reality that is our birthright, we can get there from here, I believe.
I talked about sort of that higher clarity of mind, and you spoke to clairvoyance. Literally means clear seeing. And in that center of headspace, in connection with the divine, what happens? We automatically go into present time. Which makes us much more present to all that is as it is, and thus the clear seeing. When we are in center of head in connection with the divine, our ego is not in the picture.
Nope.
Our feelings are not, overwhelming feelings about this, that, or the other are sort of on the back burner. And this is where I meditate.
Right.
We talked about, meditation, and Wendy and I do meditations every month. This is where we meditate from. Mm-hmm. And thank you all for joining us. And as a reminder, we do a free monthly meditation the first Tuesday of every month. So look for information that we put out about that. And if you
I just want to say about that these techniques that we're talking about, we do, and we'll be saying hi to some chakra information too. So if you like any of this, come play with us. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And feel free to reach out to us, make some comments on our Facebook page, send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. And let's just keep the mystic conversation flowing, because I think especially right now, it's really, really important.
Yeah. So let's have a quick meditation.
Okay.
Hello, body. Hello, chair. Hello, letting go what's not us. Like sand in our hands. You've received a lot of information today and in this season, and whatever resonated with you, keep it, it's yours. And whatever didn't, just drop it like sand in your hands. And let Susana's information go back to her like you're giving her some wildflowers. And let my information come back to me like you're giving me wildflowers. And we're giving you wildflowers, your information and energy back to you. What you experienced, what you learned, what this stimulated for you is yours. So own it for yourself. Sit in the center of your head. Notice your sun. Let it fill you with light. And have fun just playing that meditation as we say. Thanks so much for playing, and we'll see you next time in Mystic Revolution. Thank you.
Thank you. See you next time, next season.
Thanks so much for playing with us. Please support Mystic Revolution by liking and sharing our show.
And sign up to get notified when new content is available. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Have a happy always.
Join us for our monthly Mystic Meditation on the first Tuesday of the month at 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time.
Click on the link in the description to get more information and join the Mystic Revolution.
We look forward to seeing you then.